Good evening. I call the Johnson City Board of Commissioners meeting on May 7th, 2020 to order. Tonight we are very honored to have Pastor Tyler Paulsen from the Walnut Christian Church with us tonight to lead our invocation. We will follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor?
Thank you. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear God, we thank you for who you are, and we thank you both for your greatness and your goodness. Your greatness and power are shown in the beautiful world that you created for us to enjoy. And your greatness is shown in the highest heights and the deepest depths, and especially here in the beauty of Northeast Tennessee. But Lord, your goodness is also clearly displayed when we count the many ways that you sustain our creation. And so we thank you for continuing to be active and present in all of our lives and in this whole world. Lord, you created us and you continue to work with us to make this world bright and beautiful. And it's with these things in mind that I pray that during this meeting, your will for our city would continue to be present and active. Lord, give these leaders your wisdom and discernment so that our community may be sustained through their work. May all the decisions made tonight reflect your will for us and align with the God of love and compassion that we know you to be. God, I pray that you would continue to empower all of us not to act out of fear for ourselves, but in love for our neighbors and for the well-being of our community. So God, I pray that you would bless the work that takes place this evening, bless your servants, and bless our city. And it's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor, for coming and visiting with us tonight. Also want to welcome all of our viewers who may be watching us live stream. And as you will note, we are still doing our commission meetings electronically. We will do that definitely through the end of May, and then we'll consider what's going on in June. I think the governor has extended the capability to do elected officials meetings through the end of June. So we'll make that consideration at that time based on what's going on. Ms. Jennings, I do know we need to call the roll since this is an electronic meeting, and we can identify all of our commissioners who are present. If you would do that, please.
Okay, Commissioner Calhoun.
Here.
Commissioner Fowler.
Here.
Commissioner Hunter.
Here.
Vice Mayor Wise.
Here, but not visibly here.
I see a very handsome picture.
Thank
So
you.
Mayor Brock.
I'm here with Mr. Peterson. Thank you. Mr. Peterson, before we start our agenda, I would like to bring attention to the fact that this is National Nurses Week. And we want to honor all of our nurses who are taking care of our citizens so well in today's environment. I've had people call me and ask what they could do for healthcare workers. And I said, I think the biggest gift you can give a healthcare worker is to not become one of their patients today. So for everyone to stay safe, stay away, and for us to all do our part in not spreading this virus. So we want to honor all of our nurses. I know probably everybody in their family somewhere has someone who's a nurse, and you know the dedication and sacrifice and the skills that they bring to us anytime we're in need. So we want to say a special word of thanks to them. Okay, Mr. Peterson, first item.
Your first order of business is consideration of the minutes from your meeting held on Thursday, April the 16th.
Hey, commissioners, if you've read the minutes from our last meeting, is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other comments on the minutes? Ms. Jennings.
Commissioner Calhoun.
Yes.
Commissioner Fowler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wise.
Yes.
Mayor Brock.
Yes.
Your next order of business is presentation of a proclamation recognizing Children's Mental Health Awareness Week.
Okay. I'm very honored to read this presentation tonight on Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. Whereas addressing the complex mental health needs of children, youth, and young adults and families today is fundamental to the citizens of Johnson City. And whereas the need for comprehensive coordinated mental health services for children, youth, young adults, and families places upon our community a critical responsibility. And whereas it is appropriate that a day should be set apart each year for the direction of our thoughts toward our children's mental health and well-being. And whereas Tennessee Voices for Children, through its unique approach to serving children and adolescents, is effectively caring for the mental health needs of children, youth, young adults, and families in our community. Now, therefore, I, Jenny O'Brock, Mayor of the City of Johnson City, do hereby proclaim May 7th, 2020 as Children's Mental Health Awareness Day in Johnson City, Tennessee, and urge all agencies and organizations interested in meeting every child's mental health needs to unite on that day in the observance of such exercises as will acquaint the people of Johnson City with the fundamental necessity of the year-round program for children, youth, young adults with mental health needs and their families. And so I think particularly this is appropriate at this time, as we know so many of our children today, their lives and their routines have been upset by what we are going through at this particular time. And so for all of us, we should, in our own families and in our neighbors and children we come in contact with, to make sure that we are looking out for these young, precious people in our community and help them through this very difficult time. Thank you, Mr. Peterson.
Yes, ma'am. Your next order of business is consideration of a beer license application for In Out Tobacco located at 815 West Walnut Street. This is for a Class 2 off-premise license. All the appropriate reviews have been made, finding no disqualifying factors. The applicant therefore is qualified for approval, and we would recommend such.
Okay, we will
Move
not have the
approval.
applicant before us. Is that correct?
The applicant is not before you.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so we need to note that he normally would be in the meeting. Did I hear a motion?
You did.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, are there any other comments or questions that need to be asked on this application? Okay, Ms. Jennings.
Commissioner Calhoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter,
Yes.
Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wise,
Yes.
Mayor Brock.
Yes.
Your next order of business is consideration of the consent agenda.
All right, commissioners, is there anything you would like to have pulled for further discussion? All right, no one, I'm not going to call by name, so if anybody has anything, just go ahead and speak up. Okay, Mr. Peterson, let's go ahead and just for the public's interest on 6.1.2, because everybody hears about, the CARE Act, and we have the opportunity to apply for some funds. Maybe just give us a real brief overview of that.
What this is you are granting us approval to apply for a grant from the federal government, providing up to $2,667,000 for transit purposes. As we currently understand it, this funding could be used for planning, capital, and operating costs incurred beginning this January 20th until all of the funds are expended. Again, all you're approving this evening is allowing us to apply for the funding when it becomes available, should it become available. So it's a good opportunity to help us offset some of the revenue losses that we will experience as a result of lost sales and property taxes.
Very good. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move approval.
Okay, I think we had Commissioner Fowler and Commissioner Calhoun.
Yes.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions? Ms. Jennings?
Commissioner Calhoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wise,
Yes.
Mayor Brock.
Yes.
Your next item for consideration is ordinance number 4736-20. An ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Johnson City, Tennessee, being part of the appendix to ordinance number 1519, entitled an ordinance to adopt a code of laws and ordinances for the city of Johnson City, Tennessee, and to repeal all laws and ordinances in conflict therewith and amendatory thereof by changing from RP2 Planned Residential District to R2B Low Density Residential District, a portion of certain property located along Boone Station Road. This is a portion of the Chestnut Cove subdivision. The zoning was applied to the property prior to the subdivision being laid out. As you'll recall, this is out off of Boone Station Road in the general vicinity of Garland Farms. And there's two sections of this development. One will be like patio homes, and the other one will be larger single family lots. And as they got to laying out this subdivision and actually setting the boundaries of the lots, there is a small area that was originally proposed to be zoned RP2 that they would like to have rezoned to R2, which will allow them to get two more of the bigger single family lots and houses located on it. There's no change in the plan of services. There's no change in the impact on surrounding properties, and we would recommend your approval.
All right, is there a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
A motion and a second. Is anybody need any further discussion? I know we've had this before us before. Looks like a good project that's going to go on out there. So there are no further questions. Ms. Jennings, if you'll call the roll.
Commissioner Calhoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wise,
Yes.
Mayor Brock.
Yes.
Your next order of business is consideration of ordinance number 4737-20. An ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Johnson City, Tennessee, being part of the appendix to ordinance number 1519, entitled an ordinance to adopt a code of laws and ordinances for the city of Johnson City, Tennessee, and to repeal all laws and ordinances in conflict therewith and amendatory thereof by changing from RTP Research Technology Park District to B4 Planned Arterial Business District, certain property located along Christian Church Road, ready for your consideration on first reading. This is a piece of property that was originally owned by Walnut, and Mountain States then became owner of it, and with the merger of Ballard, it now belongs to Ballard. This property had a zoning designation of Research Technology Park placed on it many years ago. And the RTP zoning is a zoning designation that has been applied to very limited number of parcels throughout the city. And there are even fewer of them that have actually been developed. The development conditions in RTP require an extraordinary amount of green space or undeveloped parts of the property. And as we were looking at how RTP was being utilized throughout the city, we had a discussion about the need to look at the appropriateness of RTP on the properties, excuse me, the properties that had that zoning. In the meantime, we had conversations with a representative of Ballard, and they had agreed that they would like to ask that this be rezoned B4. And we were simultaneous to that in a process internally looking at rezoning some of the RTP property into a more appropriate zoning designation that would be more in concert with surrounding land uses. So that is the history behind this rezoning. It has no additional cost. There's no negative impact to city services, anything like that. And we would recommend your approval to rezone this property from RTP to B4.
Okay, before we get a motion and vote, Mr. Peterson, seeking your advice and with the commission's advice, since we are meeting electronically and at our next meeting, we would have public hearing on both of these ordinances. Would it be better for us to move that public hearing to third reading, in that we may be meeting in chambers again for that public hearing to be more accessible, or just your thoughts?
Pete,
Yeah.
can't the commission or the mayor just keep public comment open so we could do it on second reading and just not close it, but kind of suspend it subject to the third meeting?
There is no requirement as to which reading of the ordinance you have your public hearing. You can have it at any of the three. If we are now set up that as the agendas go out, anybody that has comment can email us in a comment that will be incorporated as a part of the public hearing and public comments on an item. So that's an option. You could always delay it to third reading. And if we're back into live meetings, then anyone can come in and make live comments. You could do, as Commissioner Wise has offered up as an option, I guess in that case, you would open it up at second reading, recognizing that those that wanted to comment electronically could do so. And if it was not closed but extended to third reading, then you would have a second opportunity for additional public comment.
If we're in public, I like that idea. Okay.
Do we need a motion to do that, or do we just need to kind of plan on doing that?
I think we just plan on doing it, and we'll just leave it open, and we can have public hearing at third as well.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Is there a motion for approval of ordinance number 4737-20?
Move to approve.
Or second. Motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Ms. Jennings?
Commissioner Calhoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wise,
Yes.
Mayor Brock.
Yes.
Mayor, this brings you to the public input section. If you received any public input.
I did not receive any emails for public input, so we will not have any public input tonight.
In that case, you are to the end of your scheduled agenda for this evening.
Okay, we have the manager's report. Is that something you prepared for, or just have some? Normally you do that at the second one, don't you?
That's normally I do that at the
Okay.
second one. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything though you would like to kind of catch the public up on, just where we are on the COVID thing? And just real quick, and the question I get asked over and over again is, what's the impact on the city's budget? So you might just kind of give a little update to the public,
Okay.
what we're doing with the budget.
In terms of the budget, right now, we're projecting that the impact of the COVID virus is probably going to have an impact to the FY20 fiscal year budget of about $5 million. That's the budget that closes out June 30. For the FY21 budget, which we are preparing and going through and reviewing now, the impact there we are estimating will be somewhere a little bit beyond $7 million. In both cases, we have curtailed expenditures, everything from unfilled positions, travel, operational expenses, capital projects that hadn't started yet. Most of the capital equipment had already been purchased for this year. Although we estimate it'll have about a $5 million impact on revenues, we believe that we can offset about $1.5 million of that in the last quarter by operational expense reductions. Going into next year, talking about the FY21 budget with the $7 million shortfall, right now it looks like that we'll only be needing to pull down about $750,000 of fund balance for next year. But I would emphasize that there's no capital equipment, no capital projects. The operational reductions will remain in place. There's no compensation adjustment for the employees. We've deferred things until FY22 that we would normally be doing in FY21 in terms of capital. So hopefully we have built this budget for a worst case scenario, and the revenue picture will prove itself to be much better than what we're anticipating. If that's the case, we will reevaluate budget sometime after the first of the year in 2022. And if revenues look good, then we could reappropriate the additional revenues received for the things that we've delayed. As far as an operational perspective, to date, the only real visible impacts have been, obviously, there's nothing going on in Freedom Hall, so that has really been a very minimal expense there. It's had an impact on Parks and Rec because the governor has not given us the approval to open up a lot of those activities. But we're still collecting the garbage and doing water, sewer, and patching potholes and fixing sidewalks and all the things we normally do. So hopefully nobody is seeing a difference in service delivery. We're still doing accounts payable and accounts receivable and keeping up with all the finance things. We'd like to take this opportunity to encourage everyone to sign up for automated bank draft business with us, e-billing. There's a lot of opportunities for folks to take care of their business with the city in electronic format that would save them from having to come down to City Hall and stand in line and those types of things. Excuse me. As far as where we are, as everyone's aware, we had a local order in place that was a safer at home order. That has since expired, and the governor has taken away our ability to have a local safer at home order. So we're under the direct direction of the state of Tennessee and the governor's executive orders. Things will be opening back up, and permitted businesses will be allowed to reopen as per the governor's instruction. That we have no local control over being more conservative or more liberal than what the governor's executive orders are. We still have a staff member, Will Ryder, who is working with local businesses to help them be compliant with the executive orders, and to also answer citizen comments and complaints about different questions that they may have about how they can be in compliance and whether or not different businesses are compliant with the state executive order. So anybody that's got a question can go to saferAtHome.org, and I believe that gets you to a website here in the city that Mr. Ryder can respond to your comments. In addition to that, we still have a group of folks with NetRep and the Chamber, the CVB, that are continually calling businesses around town to see how they're doing, what their needs are. I was just reading through a report just a few minutes ago. In the manufacturing and industrial sector, it looks like the manufacturers dealing with dental supplies and with automobile parts supplies are the ones that have been impacted the greatest. Everyone else seems to have had minimal challenges in terms of keeping everybody employed. Almost all the businesses are talking about they have challenges with consumer demand isn't back up to where it needs to be for them to be at full production. And a lot of the businesses are seeing some challenges with their supply chain, especially in terms of a timely delivery for product that they need in their manufacturing process. This has been a very, very successful program in the fact that we have reached out to local businesses and offered them assistance and guidance on how to deal with unemployment and federal grants, and just to stay in touch with them, to let them know that we're here to be helpful and that we know this is a very difficult time, and just trying to build some relationships and strengthening existing relationships to let them know that they are the backbone of our local economy and that we're here to help them. Washington County Mayor Grandy rolled out a program today that, excuse me, allows businesses that are open to adopt the Tennessee Pledge and go to a promise of compliance. And there is a decal, a window sticker, whatever you want to call it, that they can display in the front of their business to signify that they are committed to compliance with the Tennessee Pledge to be a safe and healthy establishment that people can feel confident of doing business with. That's been very well received. And so I think we're doing a lot to help the local businesses, and we just need to encourage everyone to do it safely and do it appropriately, but get out and be active, support local businesses. And as we get out, we've got to all make sure that we take responsibility as individuals as well as responsibility as business owners to be safe. As requested, wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands, don't touch your face, the things we've talked about now for 2 months. It's now time to learn how to live as safely as we can with this COVID-19 virus, and to get the economy going and try to get back to some sort of normal life. And I'm very thankful for the teams that we have had both internally and externally working to help businesses get up and get going again.
Thanks, Pete. Well said, for sure. Commissioners, we probably, many of the committee meetings are not taking place right now, but if you have any updates on the boards on which you serve and would like to update each other, let's take a minute to do that now. Commissioner Calhoun, anything from the Planning Commission?
Planning Commission is dealing with a couple of annexation issues that will wind up coming to the City Commission, and I gave you a little bit of update on that at the agenda meeting Monday, but we have a meeting scheduled for the 12th, so I'm sure there'll be other things going on that we'll report on then.
Good. Commissioner Hunter?
No, ma'am.
I love where you are. I love your backdrop there. That's makes me want to go on vacation or something. That's great.
Thought I'd try outside.
Yeah, that's John's backyard. It's like a vacation.
Yeah, I have to worry about my dogs. We were listening to birds. I thought that was a nice touch. Commissioner Fowler, anything on the CBD?
CBD is having the first meeting next Tuesday, so hopefully we'll be meeting just like this on Zoom with each other. So we'll find out a little bit more, but I know the hotels are not doing well right now, so hopefully we got better news coming for them.
Very good, thank you. Vice Mayor.
JCDA has continued to have its regular meetings. We met in late April and we'll meet again at some point later yet in May. So of course they have a lot of changes coming because at the end of June, they'll be standing separate from NetRep. So they have some office and organizational structure questions to deal with.
Good. Thank you. On my part, I'll talk just a little bit about Bright Ridge. I think everyone is well aware of the broadband rollout, and it's being done in phases throughout the city. I know with the electronic meetings and all the Zooms and the need now for high-speed broadband, there's even more angst about getting it rolled out as quickly as we possibly can. But it's a great program and doing extremely well. We'll probably see some more solar from Bright Ridge as well. Our solar plant or solar farm down in Telford has it was designed to produce 5 megawatts of power. It's kind of overperforming, which is a great thing to have. And so it's been a really, really good success. And we will probably see some additional solar in our area, which I think will be extremely good. Likewise, Bright Ridge is working on installing a system of charging stations for electric vehicles. And we'll be real pleased when that gets into place, as we anticipate the electric vehicle demand will go up. Of course, with gasoline at $1.36 someplace, maybe the pressure will be off on that a little bit. But anyway, a lot of good things going on out at Bright Ridge, a good team there. On the animal shelter, as most of you know, the shelter has been closed for now 5 weeks, 6 weeks. It's been by appointment only, but believe it or not, we've probably adopted more animals out here in the last 30 days, even by appointment only. And for sure, we've learned some new ways to do this that will probably continue even after it's fully opened. And we have people fill out the application online, they get approved, and then they come in and meet their pet. They are met outside to do the visitation, and it's worked out extremely well. We've been doing some additional projects out there. The building now is what, Pete, 6 years old?
I think so.
Yeah, about 6 years old. So it's been a great time, and our pet population is down because we've closed intake except for emergencies. So it's a great time to be able to do some of those needed maintenance items. So everything's good there. But so those are my two. Anything else?
I had 2 questions. One, did we get March collections back? I know we were $700,000 ahead at the end of February. And
We won't have March sales tax numbers until sometime after May the 20th.
okay. And the other, we had our other called meeting on the 30th last week where we did do some city business, and I didn't see minutes from that, but we will need to approve those minutes at some point, maybe the next meeting.
Just
Yes, sir.
received, yeah, they just showed up on my desk today, so.
Okay.
All right.
Good catch. Thank you, sir.
I just don't want us to stay legal.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? All right. Wish everyone a good week, and meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's 30.